I fell in love with my son's friend, and my son caught us. Halloween night used to mean chaos. Candy wrappers everywhere, fake spider webs on the walls, my ex-wife laughing as our son tried to scare the neighbors. But tonight was quiet, too quiet. My son, Joseph, had gone out with his friends, the same friends who'd grown up in our living room, raiding the fridge and making too much noise. This year, I didn't even carve a pumpkin. The divorce had drained something out of me. The house felt like it was holding its breath. I poured myself some tea and sat by the window, watching the streetlights flicker. The wind carried faint laughter and the rustle of costumes. It all felt far away, like a memory that didn't belong to me anymore. It was just past 7 when I heard a soft knock at the door. When I opened it, Ken stood there, half smiling, hands tucked into the pockets of his gray jacket. His hair was a little damp from the mist, and in the light from the porch, I could see the steam of his breath curl in the cold air. "Hey," he said. "Joseph mentioned you'd be home alone. I was nearby. Thought I'd check in." "Checking in on the old man?" I teased. He laughed. "Something like that." "Thought you might not want to spend Halloween alone," he said gently, lifting a small paper bag. "Brought some pumpkin pie." I laughed, though my voice caught somewhere in my throat. "You didn't have to do that." "I know, but I wanted to." There was something about the way he looked at me, quiet, patient, that felt like a hand resting softly on my chest, a reminder that someone saw me, not just as a father or a man left behind, but as a person still capable of warmth. "Come in," I said. He stepped inside, shaking the rain from his jacket. The air between us was calm, filled only by the hum of the heater and the faint scent of cinnamon in the kitchen. Outside, the laughter of trick-or-treaters faded into the night, leaving the two of us in our own small world. We sat at the kitchen table, the pumpkin pie between us, its sweet scent filling the air. Ken poured us both a cup of coffee. The steam curled in the space between us like a silent conversation. For a moment, neither of us said anything, and maybe we didn't need to. "It's strange," he said after a while, "how quiet nights can feel the loudest." "I know. Used to love Halloween. The noise, the costumes, the laughter." "And now?" he asked softly. "Now it just reminds me of how much has changed. The house feels too big, the silence too sharp." He gave a small smile, the kind that understands, not pities. "I get that. I've been alone for a while, too. It sneaks up on you, doesn't it?" "It does, and then you start to forget what company feels like." For a long moment, we just sat there, the warmth of the mugs in our hands, the faint flicker of the porch light outside, and the sound of children's laughter echoing down the street. It wasn't loneliness anymore. It was something softer. Two people sharing silence and finding, somehow, that it didn't hurt quite as much. It started to feel cold a little, too cold. I went inside, grabbed a blanket, and he said, "Thanks, Daddy." And then one moment led to the next, and for a moment, I forgot about my ex-wife. Then Ken kissed me. It was amazing. His cinnamon breath made my chest tighten, and I felt free, alive, like I was 22 again. Then just before the moment got intense, then the front door opened. Joseph stood there in his jacket, eyes wide when he saw us. "Ken, Dad, what's going on?" he asked. "Nothing," I said quickly. "Ken just stopped by." He frowned. "Right, talking." And before I could say another word, he went back inside, the door slamming behind him. The sound hung in the air. I stared at it, feeling every ounce of his anger, every bit of what he didn't understand. Ken stood quietly for a moment, then sighed. "I should go." "You don't have to," I said softly. "He just He's not ready to see me move forward. He will be, eventually. I nodded. Thanks for stopping by, really. Anytime, he said, giving a small smile before walking down the path into the night. I stayed outside a while longer, watching the candle in the old lantern flicker out. Maybe that's what healing is, letting one light fade so you can make room for another. I didn't know when Joseph and I would talk again, or what that talk would sound like, but for the first time in a long time, I felt something close to hope. I still met up with Ken the next day, not caring what Joseph would think. In fact, I invited him to the house when Joseph wasn't around. There was something comforting about his presence, like quiet company you didn't know you needed until it was there. We sat at the kitchen table, the pumpkin pie between us, the scent of cinnamon filling the room. For a while, we just talked. About small things at first, the neighborhood, the weather, and then about life, the kind of talks that only happen when two people are tired of pretending everything's fine. Sharing small kisses, that's when I heard the sound of keys at the door. "Dad, you home?" I stood quickly, startled. He stepped out onto the porch, his eyes moving between me and Ken. "Ken? Dad? What's going on?" "Nothing," I said quickly. "Ken just stopped by." "Oh," his voice was cautious. "Didn't know you had company." "Yeah," Ken said kindly. "We were just having some cocoa. He's been helping me learn the ropes around here." He nodded, but I could see it, that flicker of something behind his eyes. Surprise. Maybe even confusion. After Ken left, Joseph stayed standing by the door. You're seeing Ken, my friend?" he asked quietly. I sighed. "Not exactly. We've been just talking, spending time. It's new." He nodded, looking down. "I guess I didn't think you'd move on so soon." "It's not about moving on. It's about not standing still." He didn't say anything for a while. Then, "Is he good to you?" I smiled, a little surprised. "Yeah, he is." Joseph nodded. Then, "That's what matters." I was happy that my son had accepted who I was and that I could truly be with Ken.
After that Halloween night, Ken mentioned he had some repairs to do at his apartment, and with a small laugh, he admitted it might take a few weeks before it was ready. I offered him a place to stay. The house slowly felt alive again. There was the faint aroma of coffee in the mornings, the soft clatter of dishes, and Ken's quiet laughter echoing through the halls. Joseph was hesitant at first. Seeing his dad with someone new, especially since they were friends, it was strange, but over time, he began to relax. Ken and Joseph started spending more time together. They repaired old bicycles in the garage, played video games in the living room, and even cooked a few meals together. Little jokes, shared smiles, and teasing about small things filled the space that had once been too quiet. I was with my two favorite 22-year-old boys. One evening, while sitting on the porch, sipping tea, Joseph nudged Ken and said, "Thanks for being around. It's, nice having someone here." Ken smiled warmly. "I think it's good for all of us," he replied. And it was. The awkwardness of that first encounter had faded, replaced by a new rhythm, a gentle, comforting routine. Joseph and I could laugh together again, knowing that the home wasn't just a house of memories, but a place where life could quietly continue and friendship could blossom in unexpected ways.